Have you ever felt the ground beneath you begin to shift, as if the truths you once stood upon are suddenly being rewritten by the world around you? Have you ever been in a situation where the pressure to blend in, to just bow your head and follow the crowd, felt like a weight you couldn't escape? It is the suffocating heat of expectation, a rhythmic music that demands your compromise in exchange for comfort. For you to give way and turn your back on everything you believed in. Maybe you see the world and it tells you, "No, you are the crazy one," or "Where is your God in this chaos?" If you have ever been here, you are not alone. Now let me tell you the story of 3 brave men who stood for the truth and how the Lord protected them through it. This is the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Imagine the heat, not the warmth of a hearth, but the oppressive, suffocating heat of the Babylonian sun beating down on the plain of Dura. It is a dry heat that cracks lips and dries out the throat. But today the heat is not the only weight in the air. There is a weight of expectation, a gravity of fear. Look at the horizon. Rising from the dust like a blinding scar against the blue sky is the image. Gold. Pure, polished, unrelenting gold. 90 feet tall. It catches the sun and throws it back into the eyes of the thousands gathered there. It is beautiful in a terrifying way. It represents power. It represents the future. It represents the definition of reality according to the king. And you are there, standing in the crowd. You are surrounded by the elite, the governors, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors. The smell of expensive perfume mixes with the smell of dust and sweat. Everyone who is anyone is here, and the unspoken rule is vibrating in the air. Get in line. Do not make a scene. Just do what everyone else is doing. Ananiah, Mishael, and Azariah are standing there. You know them as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They are young men, far from home, stripped of their culture, stripped of their titles, stripped even of their own names. They are exiles. Everything in their world has already shifted. Their temple is destroyed. Their city is burned. Their God seems silent to the watching world. They have every excuse to compromise. They could say, "We will bow on the outside but stand on the inside." They could say, "It is just a statue. It doesn't mean anything." But then the sound begins. It starts with a horn, a long, mournful blast. Then the flute joins in, breathless and airy. Then the zither, the lyre, the harp, and the pipes. It is a symphony of seduction. It is music designed to bypass your brain and speak directly to your emotions. It is a rhythm that says, submit, surrender, belong. The herald screams out the command. Nations and peoples of every language, when you hear the sound of the music, you must fall down and worship the image of gold. Whoever does not fall down and worship will immediately be thrown into a blazing furnace. The music swells. It reaches a crescendo, and then the rustle. The sound of 10,000 robes hitting the dirt. The sound of 20,000 knees striking the ground. It is like a wave of water crashing down. The entire plain of Dura collapses. Every head bows. Every forehead touches the dust, except 3. Imagine that moment of exposure. Suddenly the skyline changes. Where there should be a flat sea of submission, there are 3 vertical lines. 3 pillars of flesh and bone standing against an empire of gold. The silence that follows the music is louder than the instruments ever were. Can you feel their hearts hammering against their ribs? This is not a safe feeling. This is the feeling of a target painted on your back. They are not just standing, they are rebelling. They are sticking out. They are ruining the king's perfect picture of unity. The report goes to Nebuchadnezzar. He is furious with rage. This is the most powerful man on earth, a man who tears down kingdoms for breakfast. He summons them. When they arrive, he gives them a second chance. And this is the hardest part, isn't it? The second chance. The devil always gives you a chance to reconsider your integrity when the heat gets turned up. Nebuchadnezzar leans in. He is almost pleading. Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Is it true that you do not serve my gods? Look, I will play the music again. Just bow, just a little, and it will be fine. But if you do not, you will be thrown immediately into a blazing furnace, and then he smiles a cold, dark smile. What god will be able to rescue you from my hand? Here is the moment. The ground is shifting. The king is screaming. The fire is crackling in the distance. The furnace is already lit, smoke billowing black against the sky. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego look at the king. They do not look down. They do not look at each other to check for consensus. They have already decided. They speak, and their voices are the most stable thing in the entire kingdom. King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. And then comes the greatest pivot in human history. The bew if not. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up. The king's face changes. The mask of diplomacy falls off. He is distorted with fury. He orders the furnace heated 7 times hotter than usual. It is so hot that the heat waves distort the air around it. It is so hot that the mighty soldiers who tie the 3 men up, men of war, men of strength, are killed instantly just by getting too close to the door. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego fall. They fall into the heart of the fire. They are bound. They are helpless. They are gone. The king watches from a safe distance, expecting to see them curl up like dry leaves and turn to ash. He expects screams. He expects silence. But instead, he sees movement. He rubs his eyes. He stands up from his throne, alarmed. He turns to his counselors. Did we not tie up 3 men and throw them into the fire? Certainly, your majesty. Look, he shouts. I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed. And the 4th looks like a son of the gods. In the middle of the shifting, consuming, destructive chaos, there is a sanctuary. The fire has burned off the ropes, but it has not touched their hair. It has not scorched their robes. They are walking. They are talking. They are talking. They are not alone. The ground shifted, but they stood on the rock. And because they stood, the King of the universe stepped down into the fire to stand with them. We look at that story and we see a miracle of survival. But I want you to look closer. I want you to see the miracle of the stance. You see, you are standing on the plain of Dura right now. Maybe there is no 90-foot statue of gold in your office or your living room. Maybe there is no literal furnace waiting to consume you. But the dynamic is exactly the same. The theme of our age is shifting. The culture shifts its definition of truth every few years. The economy shifts, and suddenly your security feels like a vapor. Your family dynamics shift, people leave, people change, people die. The ground underneath you is constantly moving, and the music is constantly playing. What is the music in your life? It is that subtle, rhythmic pressure that tells you to conform. It is the voice that says, if you want to keep your job, just nod along with the lie. It is the anxiety that whispers, if you stand up for what is true, you will be cancelled, you will be alone, you will be weird. The music plays the melody of fear. It tells you that safety is found in blending in. It tells you that the only way to survive the shifting ground is to lie down on it. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego teach us something profound about stability. They teach us that stability does not come from the ground under your feet. It comes from the anchor in your soul. Notice their answer to the king. They did not say, "Our God will save us, so we are not afraid." That is arrogance. They said, "Our God is abler to save us, but even if he does not, we still will not bow." That is the secret. That is the anchor of truth. It is the theology of the even if. Most of us have a transactional relationship with God. God, if I stand for you, you must keep me comfortable. God, if I do the right thing, you must keep the fire away. And when the fire comes anyway, our faith collapses. We feel betrayed. We feel like the ground has given way. But these three men didn't have a contract with God for safety. They had a covenant with God for loyalty. Their stability wasn't based on the outcome. It was based on the relationship. When everything is shifting, you cannot look at the circumstances to find your peace. If you look at the fire, you will panic. If you look at the angry king, you will tremble. If you look at the crowd bowing down, you will feel isolated. You have to look at the fourth man before he even arrives. You have to decide now, before the music starts, who you are. Standing firm when everything is shifting means you stop trying to control the tectonic plates of your life. You cannot stop the earthquake. You cannot stop the culture from changing. You cannot stop the crisis from coming. But you can choose your posture. You can choose to be the one vertical line in a horizontal world. And here is the beautiful, terrifying truth. The fire is not what you think it is. The king intended the fire to destroy them, but God used the fire to liberate them. Did you notice what happened? The only thing the fire burned was the ropes that bound them. Some of you are afraid of the conflict. You are afraid of the fallout if you stand firm. You think, if I tell the truth, my life will blow up. And it might. The furnace might get heated 7 times hotter, but the fire of the world can only burn away the things that are not of God. It burns away your pride. It burns away your false security. It burns away your dependency on people's approval. It leaves you unbound. And it is only in the fire that you meet the fourth man in a way you never could in the palace. There is an intimacy with God that is only available when the temperature rises. There is a fellowship in the suffering. So if you feel the ground shifting today, if you hear the music playing and you feel the pressure to bow, do not look at the ground. Do not look at the gold. Fix your eyes on the Ancient of Days. Father, I am coming to you now, not as a hero, but as a child who is tired of the noise. I confess that I have been listening to the music of this world more than I have been listening to your whisper. I confess that I have been afraid of the fire, terrified of being different, and scared of losing the approval of the crowd. Lord, you know how much I hate the feeling of instability, how much I crave control and predictability. When the ground shifts under my feet, my first instinct is to grab onto anything, money, status, people, just to keep from falling. But today, I am letting go of those false anchors because I realize they are just as unstable as the shifting sand. God, I am asking for the spirit of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to rise up within my bones today. Give me the courage to stand vertical when the entire world is bowing horizontal to the idols of comfort and fear. I pray for the grace of the even if, that deep, unshakable trust that says, you are good no matter what the furnace looks like. Lord, if I must go through the fire to be free of my ropes, then do not let me run from the heat. I would rather be in the fire with you than in the palace without you, for your presence is the only thing that cannot be burned. When the pressure comes to compromise my integrity at work, or in my home, or in my heart, remind me that I answer to a higher king. Silence the music of the enemy in my ears, that hypnotic rhythm that tells me I am alone and outnumbered. Remind me that those who are with me are more than those who are against me, even if I cannot see them with my natural eyes. Jesus, you are the fourth man in the fire, the one who walked through the ultimate furnace of the cross so that I would never be consumed. Stand beside me now, hold me upright, and let my life be a testimony that defies the logic of this shifting world. I plant my feet on your word, the only rock that does not move, the only truth that does not fade, the only kingdom that cannot be shaken. I trust you with the outcome, I trust you with the pain, and I trust you with the pain, and I trust you with my future. In the name of the one who walks through flames and brings us out the other side. Amen. My friend, as you go back into the world today, I want you to know something. The shaking you feel, it is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your testimony. You may feel like the odd one out. You may feel the heat rising on your face, but do not be afraid of the fire. The fire reveals what you are truly made of. Gold does not fear the flame. It is refined by it. May you have the clarity to hear the false notes in the world's music. May you have the strength to lock your knees and stand tall when the pressure pushes down. And may you realize in the deepest part of your soul that you are never, ever standing alone. There is one who stands with you. He is the anchor, he is the rock, and he has never lost a battle yet. Walk in that confidence. The world may shift, but you are held. Peace be with you. Before you go, I want to ask you one thing to carry with you. Think about the music playing in your life right now, the pressure to conform or compromise. What is one specific area where you need to stop bowing and start standing? If you are ready to identify that area and surrender it to God, simply whisper, "I am ready to stand."